San Jose's awesome. Hi, San Jose, Zazians. San Josians? I don't know. What was this? San Josites?
I want to say, we got some mics here if you want to start lining up. I got to ask
you guys, wait. Yeah, we're going to talk for like 2 seconds, and then I'm just going to go to fan questions because that's how I roll. So if you have any questions, if you don't have any questions, it's going to be a really boring panel.
So I got to ask, so who hasn't seen the latest Thor movie?
Who has not seen Thor Ragnarok?
Okay, close your ears, and you should have already seen it because it's been out for a while.
By the way, close your ears is such a weird thing to say. How does one...
Just do it, all right? So
not working.
So something happens to you, for the people who haven't seen it. I mean, getting killed.
Is it gentle?
It didn't seem gentle, but getting killed off by Kate Blanchett's
yeah. So it's really weird, like, so the journey, that actually, I mean, so like, the journey of Fandral the Dashing in one sitting. So like, because I knew you from Marvel back in the day, when you were working for Marvel, and for those of you who don't know, so I was doing Chuck, I auditioned for Kenneth Branagh, I got cast as Fandral the Dashing, I was like, this is fucking awesome. I get to be in the Marvel universe and be a demigod. Fitting. And then out of nowhere, Warner Brothers was like, look, Warner Brothers, NBC, we got picked up for additional episodes that season. And for Chuck, for the Chuck fans, you were like, great. For me, I was like, what? And then I couldn't be in a Marvel movie, and I was super bummed. I was super bummed that year. And then Josh Dallas was Fandral the Dashing, and he did a fantastic job. And then cut to a couple years later, and all of a sudden he's doing Once Upon a Time, and he has the same problem that I had with Chuck, and he couldn't do it. And then Marvel was like, hey, would you like to play this Fandral guy again? And I was like, maybe. Actually, it was kind of a maybe, because I talked to Kevin Feige personally. I said, look, man, I would love to obviously be a part of this Marvel universe, but I saw the first Thor, and I didn't really feel like the Warriors 3 got all that much time to do a lot of Warriors 3-ish things. And he was like, oh, no, there's going to be a lot more of that. And I also said, does this also like preclude me from ever being another Marvel character? Because as much as I thought it'd be cool to be Fandral, there's a lot of other, standalone characters and stuff that I thought would be even cooler to be. And he's like, no problem. Look, Chris Evans was the Human Torch, then he was Captain America. I was like, okay, fair, that was a different studio. I think I know your world better than you do. Ray Stevenson, by the way, Punisher, then Volstagg, also different studio at the time. But he said, okay, cool. And I was like, okay, cool. And then we didn't really have all that much to do in the second movie. So that wasn't so good. And then in the third movie, for those of you who are still plugging your ears, thank you. In the third movie, there was very, 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 very little to do. By the way, I haven't even seen the movie yet. I still haven't seen the movie. I actually had some lines originally. What's left on the cutting room floor is, so for those of you who have watched the movie, you see that Kate Blanchett comes out and she very just willy-nilly throws some knives of demonic purpose. I don't know, they're evil knives, impaling both me and Volstagg, killing us instantly. The end. What is on the cutting room floor is me charging at Hela and getting impaled and going, for Asgard! No shit, I had my last line, my last words in the Marvel Universe were, for Asgard! Cutting room floor. And when I shot that, it was a bummer, I mean, as you can imagine, what people are like, isn't it so cool to be in the Marvel Universe? I'm like, it's awesome. I just wish I got to do it a little bit more. That'd be great. And I was in, I was in Australia where they shot it. Taika Waititi, by the way, is fantastic, and Chris and Tom and everyone, the whole situation was awesome. I'm stoked for them. wasn't so stoked for Fandral. But I remember, you know, they brought me in, I shot for one day. Fitting to die. By the way, getting killed by Kate Blanchett, honor, I will say. But it was very like, oh man, like this kind of sucks. Little did I know that the timing of that, and that I was officially now not in the. Somebody today asked me, they go, any chance you'll be back in the next Thor movie? I was like, I don't know. Not gonna happen. But the timing that I never would have understood at that point, and for any of you who are sitting out there right now wondering what is going on in my life or whatever, the timing of our lives are things that we don't understand. Because if I didn't die, really, you know, a year and a half ago, whatever, in Australia, then I would not be able to be reborn into the DCEU and to be Shazam. So that's a whole, like, you know, to go from those really genuinely, like I was bummed, and now going, wow, that was actually a huge blessing in disguise. I had no idea, and that's that journey. So that is the, what did I call it? The life of Fandral in one sitting? I don't know.
I have one more question for the fans, but speaking of Shazam, which is amazing, and I don't know if you've heard this before, but are you the Chris Pratt of the DC universe? I'm calling it right here.
His own man.
Well, you know what I mean.
I'm my own man.
Yeah.
Also, I should be so lucky as to be Chris Pratt. I don't know. You know, look, I'll say this, and perhaps this is what you mean by this, but I think that Guardians. By the way, that's another thing. So I screen tested for Star-Lord. It was kind of came down to me and Chris, and then I didn't get that job. And then I was suicidal. That's another story. No, but for real though, on the real tip, you know, I've known Chris for a long time, and I've always thought he's a super stand-up, awesome dude, super talented. And he got that job. I wanted it so bad. I was like, oh my gosh, this is like a treasure hunter in space, so I get to be Indiana Jones and Han Solo? Okay, great. Didn't really pan out that way. But the point is that then I saw Chris's just meteoric rise, and that's a very difficult thing as an actor, because it's very difficult to not play the comparison game all the time, particularly with your peers. Like, Chris and I were in very similar places. In fact, if anything, I was the lead of a show. He was a supporting character on Parks and Rec, and then he leapfrogged and did that, and then on every single time I'm anywhere that has a magazine rack, I'm looking at Chris Pratt's face over and over and over and over and over. Oh, he's in a new giant movie. Good for you, Chris! It was very difficult for me. So that was hard. But again, I bring that up again to say you don't know the timing of your life. If you're sitting around in your life, and I just to go philosophical, just for a heartbeat. Stop if you're dealing with any kind of depression right now, anxiety, if you're wondering where you're going, where you've been, if you're spinning your wheels, whatever it is in our lives, know that I fully believe that there is much bigger, awesome shit going on behind the scenes, and you gotta trust it. You gotta trust it, and don't let that negativity bring you down to a place where you don't value yourself, where you don't respect yourself, where you don't love yourself, and when you don't do the same for other people. Because that's happened to me. It happens to all of us. We start feeling like what's the point of all the things going on in the world? And that was a huge thing for me. Star-Lord and Guardians, and that was a huge thing. It really wrecked me for a minute. And to know that I get to be this guy now, I get to play Shazam, I wouldn't change it for anything in the world. So that's all that. Then getting back to Chris Pratt, and am I the Chris Pratt of the DCEU? What I would say is this: Guardians came out of nowhere, right? It was not an IP that a lot of people, even Marvel comic readers, really were super up to snuff on. And James Gunn and the gang killed it. And it brought so much heart and humor and yeah, I think it was kind of like this dark horse that took everybody by storm. And I think Shazam kind of has the possibility to do that because Shazam is not, for all intents and purposes, it's not Suits, it's not Batman, it's not Wonder Woman, it's not what most of the people, if you look at most Justice League montages or like Justice League posters, Shazam is not necessarily one of the characters you put on there, except he is in the Justice League, so. Just gonna throw it out there. Yeah. So if we do well enough, and then, I mean, when I was by the way, when I was camera testing for this job, I was driving to and from Warner Brothers. It was like 2 weeks before Justice League came out, and I was driving to Warner Brothers, and the posters for Justice League were like, there was 3 of them on the way to Warner Brothers and on the way back, and I was going, am I about to be on one of those posters? And I might be. So to that extent, like if Shazam gets to be that kind of fun, jovial, because he's Billy Batson. It's the movie Big, but with superpowers, which I'm like beyond stoked about, you know. And by the way, for those Shazam purists out there, and I know there are many of you out there, I understand that the S in his name stands for the wisdom of Solomon. And that's a difficult thing to believe when you're playing the 13-year-old in you who's not as wise as Solomon. But you gotta, you know, I think that Jeff Johns and really the entire team at DC, what they're trying to do in a lot of these reboots and the New 52 and all that stuff, they're trying to create characters that originally weren't created to be very different. I mean, literally Shazam and Superman. Shazam was created so closely to Superman that DC sued Fawcett and they won. Now Shazam gets to be a little bit different than Superman, and I think that's important. I think that in order to have a team of collaborative superheroes that are all working in conjunction with one another, they need to have differences and strengths and weaknesses, and I love that Shazam gets to be that character. I love that he gets to be the little boy in all of us, or little girl in all of us, that is genuinely just like jacked and gets to fly around and beat up bad guys. Like, who doesn't want to do that? I want to do that, you know? So,
congrats again, man. That's so great.
Thank you.
Let's go to some fans.
Hi, fans. Marty! Yo, Marty!
Zach, you gotta come back with me.
You gotta come back.
Back to the future.
We did this bit earlier.
We did.
You came to my booth, we took a picture, we were both looking at our watches while we held your hoverboard. Come on.
Yep, exactly. So, all right, my question is, are there, or were there, any plans to bring back Chuck in any shape or form? Like a Buy More spinoff, Nerd Herd spinoff, or Jeffster kind of spinoff?
Guys,
Movie?
we've been over this. We've been over this. So here, yes, the plans, there are plans. Unfortunately, they're only my plans. But what I would love to do is I would love to find, I have some ideas for a plot that I think is genius. And, but what I would love to do is I would love to do essentially, you know, Chuck movies. I would love to, but not in the movie theaters. I would love to go to Netflix and like every 2 years do an hour and a half to 2 hour Chuck movie, because I think Chuck is kind of a perfect premise to do those one-off installments in the same way that, like, you know, Bond does it. You know, not to compare Chuck to Bond. But isn't it really the same thing? But it's like, you know, it's a happy-go-lucky kind of, you know, sillier version of James Bond. We had our baddie of the week every week, or sometimes the entire year, and I think and that's a way easier thing to get the whole band back together for. I can't get anybody who's still waiting for a season 6. You need to stop waiting. Just stop asking. It's not going to happen, because I don't think the show needs a full season 6 or more than, you know, that. And I can't get everybody back together for that amount of time. What I can probably do is get everybody back together for, you know, 6 weeks at some point, and we can make the Chuck movie. And if that goes well, then maybe we'll do another one, or so on and so forth. So that's what I would love to do. And that's the end of that question. Yeah, Dora is that.
Hello. Oh, okay.
Hi.
Ooh, I feel like I'm breaking the fourth wall because I'm seeing you the first time in public. So my question is, God, I'm blanking now. Great. Sorry.
It's okay. This fourth wall thing is really trippy.
Oh, now I got it. So if you were to get the Warriors 3, if they were to get back together and do like a spin-off, like maybe a fan-made movie or something, or maybe doing a web series, because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has done that on Hulu, and they've done websites and stuff like that for Marvel. Would you be interested in doing that?
I'm Shazam now.
You're contractually obligated to.
Yeah, I don't think that's even in a fan-made. That's just lawsuit all over it, I think. Look, when I was still Fandral, I thought that would. Look, to be perfectly honest, I thought they had a perfect little mini Avengers built into the whole core franchise. You had your main guy, and then you had three, and then Lady Sif, and anyone else. There were a ton of warriors that all could have been fighting together, doing the thing.
Like a Princess Bride type of adventure.
Sure! That could have been Inigo Montoya. Or Wesley. Kind of a hybrid, really. No, but that wasn't done, you know, and I wouldn't even begin to want to try and figure out what could be done there for fear of lawsuit. And also because honestly, because I remember and I will always hold dearly to those days. I mean, look, I was thinking about the other day, like the amount of actors that have been blessed enough to straddle both the Marvel and DC universes is, I thought it was a much shorter list than it was. It's actually not as short as I thought it was. There's quite a few, but it's still a selective list. And so the fact that I've gotten to do that, then I was like, wait a minute, but I also have gotten to be in the Disney canon as well. And I genuinely couldn't think of another actor who's gotten to be Marvel, DC, and Disney. And so, you know, when I'm sitting around and kind of going like, oh man, this, or oh man, that, or whatever, I try to just slap myself in the face and go, dude, Marvel, DC, Disney, deal with it. Like, you know what I mean? So to that extent, I'm so grateful that I got to be a part of the Marvel U, and will always, but I think that ship has sailed, and if they ever do bring it back, it'll be with another Fandral, and I'll be happy to executive produce that.
Thank you.
Yes?
Hi, I'm Lil Pop. I have been following your career on Broadway, and I am such a big fan.
Thank you.
The first date, and she loves me, and
Thank you.
acting by for a cause for Nerd HQ.
Yeah.
And if I know we didn't do it last year, if that's coming back.
We didn't do it last year.
No.
That was sarcasm.
Okay. So I was like, did I miss it?
Because I wasn't there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, will we be seeing that again?
Will we get more in 2018?
Yeah.
So the answer is I don't know. Has anybody here been to Nerd HQ before? Okay. Anyone here who has not been but has watched the panels online? Okay. So in 2013, basically the long and the short of this, I'll try to keep it as short as possible. Nerd HQ is a very difficult thing to create. It's about, in order to create the environment with all the gaming and all the things, like the lights and the sound and the cameras for the panels and the parties and everything that's involved, it's about a $2 million event, all in, right? And basically the way that I was able to make Nerd HQ happen for most of its existence was I would put my own money in up front, and I would pay, you know, percentages to hold the venue, the vendors, all kinds of things. And I was praying and believing that we would be able to get big sponsorship dollars from, you know, the Xboxes of the world or whatever to then pay myself back and pay for the event. And then in the third year that we did it, I was very, very, very pot committed. We had a couple of very big sponsors that were orally, they had committed to us. And then they pulled out about 2 weeks before the event. It was the first year we did it at Petco Park. And I was either going to lose a lot of money and have no event, or I was going to lose even more a lot of money and have an event. And I I personally don't believe that money should be the object of our affection, nor do I believe that it should be running our world. I believe that we should put people over profits and not profits over people, and I believe that as much as I can in my life, take the money that I've been blessed with and put it towards something that I believe that is good, and it brings people together, and it brings wholeness, and it brings joy, and we can raise money and awareness for Operation Smile and all of these things, that I will take that money that God gives me and I will put it toward those good things, even if it may fail one day. So that year was a tough one. I doubled down on that financial situation, but it was worth it to me that year. I knew that I literally couldn't do that ever again. Otherwise, I would be sitting up here wearing cardboard shoes, which are fashionable now, by the way. You should see the new ones, New Balance. They're for the planet. Anyway, so I knew I couldn't do that anymore. So then the very next year, Dave Coleman, who's my partner at Nerd Machine at Nerd HQ, we were trying to figure out, well, what do we do? Because you can't trust sponsors who are saying, oh, we're in it, we're gonna bring all this money, and then they don't. And I need to lock down all these venues, and you gotta lock them down way, way, way in advance. So we decided to do a crowdfund. And we did it on Indiegogo, and I don't know if anybody here was involved in that crowdfunding campaign, but and for all of you who were, thank you very much. I kept it very simple. I said, look, there's no perks. I'm not going to be calling people and recording voicemails and anything like that. The perk is Nerd HQ exists. If you want 30 hours of panels for free that we give you every year, if you want to walk through the doors in San Diego for free that we give you every year, I'm asking for $5. And we got raked over the coals by maybe some people in this room, maybe some people not in this room, but bloggers came out. People were literally writing articles saying, Zachary Levi wants $1 million of your dollars so he can throw celebrity parties that you're not invited to. And I was devastated because that's not what I do. I go and hold down a massive venue and I throw parties. Three of the 4 nights of Comic-Con, 2 of them are completely open to the public. I hold one night for all the celebrities that are donating all their times for all the panels and all that stuff because, hey, guess what, guys? They're all looking for a place that they can go let their hair down and get crazy and drunk and sweaty and not have a camera phone in their face all the time, which if I mix, when you cross the streams, Ray, it can get very messy. You open up portals to other dimensions. But I was getting destroyed for that. So then I was like, well, I don't know that I can crowdfund this thing ever again. That's the long way of coming around. I know I said it was going to be a short story. Sorry, flyer. So my intention, my goal now is I'm going to just convert the whole thing over into being a complete nonprofit. I don't want any kind of weird anything anymore. And I think on the Nerd HQ website, I'm just going to put a little donate thing. I'm going to say, if we make enough money, it's going to be a full foundation. It's going to be dedicated toward bringing the arts and science together. I want kids who are growing up right now to come by Nerd HQ. Floating hair. Thank you, got it. Miyagi that right out of the air. But in the rock. And I want kids and families to be able to come through and do like mocap and green screen experiences and all that kind of stuff. I want it to be like, the cool arts or like the science and technology museums that you used to go to when you were a kid where you could like hands-on everything. That's what I want it to be. Plus the parties and the panels and all that jazz. And all y'all can literally go click, I want to donate, and it's completely tax deductible. And if we make enough money, and I'll still put sponsors and all that stuff too, but if we can make enough money, I'll do Nerd HQ till I die. I'll bring it, not only will I do it in San Diego, I'll do Nerd HQs as satellite events to other conventions as well. But I just can't keep paying for it. That's all. So if you guys want to be tax deductible donations and like come and party and shit, I'll bring DJs, we'll kick it off, we'll dance like crazy people. I love the camera. The camera was like, oh, he's up. I don't know what that dance move is.
Yeah, the amount of money you raised for Operation Smile is just unbelievable.
Dude, we've done, but well, look, and I tell you what though, that's a testament to, I think, creating an environment where people feel incentivized to want to do that, right? I mean, Nerd HQ was, I just wanted to create a convention experience that felt like what I would want to do on a regular basis. I like this is exactly what I like doing. I like talking to people. I like, no offense to you, but I like fan Q&A. This is a fan event. A convention is a fan event. I don't need to answer questions that normally a reporter or somebody would ask us. They get access to us all the time. If somebody says, what's your favorite color? I want to say blue, even though it's not blue. It's whatever it is. I just want to be able to interact because what the fuck? I only get to have my job. I say this in every panel, and I'm never going to stop saying it. You guys have to understand that you have all the power. Don't let anybody tell you that you don't have all the power. You are the power. You are the producers. When you say that you want a movie, you are saying it with your ticket price purchase. That's what you're doing. If you don't want that movie made anymore, you just have to stop going to that movie. I mean, I'm not kidding. If you don't want a TV show to be on television anymore because you don't think it's great, stop watching the show. They'll stop making it. But we all get pushed down and pushed around, and we think, oh, well, we just gotta watch what they're giving us, and so we're gonna do that. No. If you stop buying the product, it's not on the shelves anymore. Believe in your power and stop listening to the fake power that's above all of us saying, well, you're gonna do what we want. Now, fuck you. Whatever it is, whatever that big power is. We are the voices. Collectively, we get to say what we want. Correct? Am I right?
On that note, we have 7 minutes left.
No,
So let's do rapid fire. Let's get through all the questions.
I'm
as
too
many as we
verbose.
can.
That's not possible.
Hi there.
Hi.
It's super trippy to see you in person because I remember.
Why? Are you rolling on mushrooms right now? Guys, that's a drug joke. Take it easy.
When I was little, my parents would always watch Chuck, and I would always like sneak in there and watch it with them. So you're kind of my childhood.
That just made me feel really horrible. Well, thank you.
Flynn is my favorite Disney prince. And my question for you is, if you could write an episode of Tangled, the series about Flynn Rider's shenanigans, what would you want to happen? And bonus points if Cassandra is involved.
If I could write an episode for Tangled the series about Flynn, just in general.
Yeah.
But,
Shenanigans.
I mean, it would clearly, be, I think at long last, the honest take on why Flynn is truly the star of the entire franchise, and why Cassandra is just a giant pain in the ass. Thank you for the question. Over here.
Hi, I was wondering if there was any person that you became starstruck, and how did that interaction go? Many people. In case you guys were wondering, when you're meeting some of your favorite stars and stuff, and you go to conventions and you don't really know what to say, that's normal. That's a totally normal thing. I remember I went and saw Tom Hanks on Broadway and knew some of the other people in the cast, and I was invited to go back to this after party after the show, and Tom was there, and I went into a fugue state. I don't even know. I was a blackout. It was me. I'm sure that was probably what it looked like on his end. Because I've idolized that guy my whole life. And it's not I get it. I live and work in this world where I know that we're all just regular people. That doesn't change the fact that you have respected, you see this person's body of work and it's oh my gosh, the level of talent and the heart and everything that he's brought into it. So that's probably, I've told this story before, but when I was working on Thor, working with Anthony Hopkins was a total trip. It was so weird. Because, I'm in the hair and makeup, with Tom Hanks, it wasn't, there was still some distance because he didn't know me and we weren't working together. When you actually work with someone and you kind of get brought into your levels kind of get a little more, even, I guess, even though he was a level 50 warlock and I was anyway, the point is, but things get a lot more equal when you're both in a hair and makeup trailer and you're sitting, it's 5 in the morning and you're getting your wig put on. It makes things very even. And Anthony Hopkins was just one of the sweetest. He's just he's a sweet old man. We were shooting in Thor: The Dark World. We were shooting a scene where we were all like down. I can't remember. It was like Frigga's funeral or something like that. But if you haven't seen Thor: The Dark World, spoiler alert. But we were like coming back from rehearsal, back to the base camp or whatever. And I was standing there. We were walking together, and I said, how? Oh, I think I knew he was bouncing back and forth. He was doing the movie Red 2 at the time, also while shooting Thor 2. And I looked over and I said, hey, and then you're also like, when they're a sir, you don't even know what to call him anymore. You're like, Anthony, Sir Hop, Sir Tony, I don't know. And, but anyway, I was like, Anthony, how's Red 2 going? And by the way, I'm 6'4", and he's like, and so I'm like, hey, how's Red 2 going? And as we're walking, and he kind of looks, he almost double takes me. It's like, as if like, oh, I can't believe someone's talking to me. I'm like, you're Anthony Hopkins, of course. Isn't everybody? He goes, oh, you're really, really good, yes, thank you. Yeah. And we just keep walking. He's like, yeah, I'm working with Bruce Willis. Yeah, Bruce Willis. Yeah. Apparently he sounded like Stewie from... I don't know. Mommy. But he was so kind, and I will say this, that obviously every person who's a celebrity or has any kind of fame or whatever, know that everybody's on a different journey. Know that some people who you would hope would be very open with you or very forthcoming or very jovial, they might be going through some really gnarly shit in their life. They might be going through some depression. You never know. They might deal with anxiety on a regular basis. So don't take it as a slight if a celebrity isn't pretending, isn't just like acting like your best friend. But also know that, at least in my experience, the coolest celebs or whatever that I've ever met are those people that realize that it's all just a gift. It's all just an opportunity. I try to remind myself of that all the time. It's like, our job. I guess what I'm trying to say is that when I'm freaking out with a celebrity, I'm hoping that they're doing a job of being like, it's okay, breathe. Like when I'm signing and stuff, and somebody's coming up to me and they're like just literally starting to cry, which it happens occasionally, and it's kind of a strange thing, and you're like, I don't know what to do with it now, other than just say, it's okay. It's okay, because there's nothing wrong that can happen right now. And I think that normally comes from just somebody having the ability to understand that there's a power, there's a thing that goes on. And no matter how powerful you get, I mean, some of the biggest celebrities in the world meet a president of the United States and they go, oh my God, I'm meeting the president of the United States. Maybe not right now, but... I said maybe not right now. I don't know. Some of them I really like the orange clown. I don't know. So we got 1 minute. Who's that?
30 seconds. Last question.
Okay, so one of my favorite stories to tell people is when you freaked out about meeting a Rapunzel cosplayer at C2E2 this year. So I was wondering if you, as Zach, could cosplay as any character, obviously one that you haven't played, what would it be and why?
Deadpool. I see it, Deadpool. I see it. Deadpool was, possibly still is my favorite character in the Marvel Universe. I wanted to play Deadpool so bad. And was so jealous when Ryan Reynolds played him, kind of. By the way, how great was it that he even set that up in his movie? I mean, Deadpool the movie, I just have so much respect for Ryan Reynolds. I think that guy, A, crushed it, but B, he has enough presence of mind to know what works and what doesn't work, and I love that he sent himself up from the previous X-Men movie where it's... When did he have katana blades come out of his arms? Guys, that didn't happen. That's not true. What's the mouth thing? Come on. And then even his Green Lantern stuff and all that, like, it was just a very funny thing. But Deadpool, he's the bomb. Like, he's a ninja, but with some style. You know what I mean? He's got, and submachine guns, and he can teleport. So, and he's funny as shit. So, so all of that, I'd say was that one. That's it, yeah.
Well, finally, like, people should, if they have extra money to give it to Nerd HQ, give it to Operation Smile.
Yeah, when we start doing, once I get it over to a not-for-profit, genuinely, if you guys want Nerd HQ to happen, I have every intention of making it happen. I would love to keep it happen. Feel free to click that donate button. It'll all be tax deductible for you. Or if you're like, fuck that, I don't care, go to Operation Smile, go give money to them. $240 and 1 hour of surgery changes a child's life forever. It's an amazing organization and an amazing thing to do. And thank you all so very much for being on my panel. I think I'm the last panel.
Yeah, last panel. And Shazam is coming through. Zachary Levi, one more time.
Bye, everybody. See you again. I love you. God bless you. Drive safe.